For Parent Pharmacy Federation, powered by researchers for emerging innovations.
Hi, I'm Meeni Shiv, Director Content and Creativity of IPR Pharmacy Federation. If you're looking for publishing periodicals or journals related to the pharmaceutical research, or if you're seeking to bring together pharmaceutical researchers on a single platform to discuss various issues related to the pharmaceutical industry, then OPF is the right place for you. IPR Pharmacy Federation, or OPF, is the international professional body of pharmacists engaged in various facets of the profession of pharmacy. OPF is committed to promote the highest professional and ethical standards of society, establish the image of pharmacists as competent healthcare professionals, sensitize the community, government, and others on various professional issues, and support the education in all aspects. We are both research-based and community-based. We are an online-based scientific multidisciplinary community in the pharmaceutical sciences, biomedical, drug discovery, and life sciences fields. We deal with publishing research papers, theses, dissertations, abstracts, reports, monographs, case studies, and others on regular basis. You can also get information about the various opportunities available within the pharmaceutical industry by gaining insights from the pharmacists who represent a plethora of practice settings. We also provide our members with extensive scholarships and awards program content, recognizing members for involvement in the Federation, for leadership, academic success, and grassroots. Other than that, we advise to make the best use of the education opportunities that are specifically designed to enhance the knowledge by keeping it updated with the latest information and path of innovation. Other objectives with regards to information efficiency, research, and publish includes provision of information related to job openings and fellowships for pharmacy researchers, to spread the familiarity with the pharmacy profession and training and research in the general public by organizing different camps, seminars, conferences, meetings, courses, workshops, and so on, to make the research papers accessible to the individuals over the web, and to distribute the magazines and periodicals identified with community pharmacy, pharmacy education, research, and health sciences. So why should you choose OPF? OPF offers participation in workshops. We are highly indulged in participating in different workshops, seminars, and conferences. Also, we motivate our members too in participating in such programs to enhance the skill sets. We also provide a number of membership benefits. After joining OPF, you can avail a wide range of membership benefits at cost-effective rates. Enroll today and get access to the genuine and quality-based journals. Further, we are also involved in specialized research studies. We at OPF are always ready to embrace and get involved in the logical and specialized research activities, along with investigations and trial on various fields of pharmaceutical and other allied sciences. Then, we also give and offer career options. OPF is always ready to help its members in choosing the best career options in the pharma and biomedical industry. You can get all genuine information related to the job openings and fellowships in the same. Our aim is to get connected with millions of readers, and our conferences bring together internationally renowned speakers and scientists to create exciting and memorable memories filled with live interactions, world-class exhibitions, and poster presentations.
A very warm good evening to one and all present here. Today we have Dr. Paresh Dave with us as a moderator for this session 2 of International IPR Treaties and Conventions. This is the session we are organizing under the International IPR Treaties Conventions course, and this is the second week, second session on the IPR Treaties. I request to Dr. Parisi Dave, who is the founder and director IP Movement and who is leading, having more than 22-year experience in IP intellectual property rights. Now I request Dr. Dave to deliver some presentation over to Dr. Paresh Dave.
So, good evening, friends. Uh, I welcome you all for this IP webinar, and it's a very, sad day. Uh, if I want to convey the message, because many of you may not be in working in IPR, and even if you are working in IPR, you may not be knowing, or if you are in IPR, you must be knowing, that today uh, we have lost, one of our IP fraternity, IPR communities, one of the expert person, and you all might be knowing about the uh, uh, name of the company, services. So IPR services co-founder, our friend Amit Agarwal. So today it was sad demise of him because of some uh, liver transplantation problem. So during the liver transplantation, uh, he could not survive, and we lost him. He is one of the biggest lost in IPR fraternity, particularly in Delhi, because he was also working with us at the CPA Global, and after working with CPA Global, he joined to Evalu Serve, and immediately after that, he started his company, Effectual Services. It is not very old; it's just 8 to 10 years before he started, and under his leadership, they have climbed a very well, and Effectual Services now a big name in the IP service provider. But because of this sad demise, we all feel very shocked, and our prayers are with his family members, and his soul, we can pray that rest in a peace. So with this message today, I would like to, because as we there is a way say is that show must go on, so we could not stop our routine and daily work. So let me start that. What is the purpose of webinars? So we started our I online certificate course on pattern searching in June 9th, and we received very warm welcome and very good participation from all around the India and from outside India also. So this was encouraged to us that we can offer our free online courses, more detailed courses, and more different variety of courses to the youngsters and students and whoever are interested to learn IPR. And these patterns are still going on, and we have received huge response. Around 480 participants have completed the course, and 1,000 plus they have registered. Coming back to these recent courses, just we launched 3 days before, and this course is related to international IPR treaties and conventions. So this course we have designed, in such a fashion that to cover up the basics of international IPR treaties and conventions and detail about that. So we are offering this course, all this course material is available on the websites, and there are 2 level of exams are also conducting. Apart from these courses, we are also organizing webinars. So these IPs web series we are offering and parallelly with these courses. So before I move on, I would like to Vikram, founder of Operant Pharmacy Federation and the management of the Operant Pharmacy Federation, to work with us and to collaborate with us and to provide such a nice platform, where we can share our webinars and where we can share our knowledge also. So I thank both of them, Vikram and management of the OPF. So as if you have joined already earlier, last week we had courses, webinars around 27th, 28th and 29th of July. So there were three speakers, Harshita, Jitender and myself. So we discussed about copyright, trademark and patent cooperation. And this week, yesterday also, I have delivered a talk on Budapest Treaty. And tomorrow we are going to have talk from Alistair Carson, so who is a founder of ADC Patent Search New Zealand. So he is going to share this his expertise, knowledge, and information on design registrations. And we have also lined up for next week also. So next week we will have Dr. Runjun Tandon, and she is going to deliver a expert talk on August 11th at 5 p.m. And she is, dean and head of the IPR cell with Lovely Professional University. So if you are working in IPR and you know some information, then Lovely Professional University, they are one of the highest or number of patent application they have filed in India. Earlier it was Amity and some other IITs institute was there, but last year it was Lovely Professional Universities. They have filed huge number of patent applications, and during that time, Dr. Runjun is she is working there, and she is in charge of IPR cell of Professional University. So we are going to learn, means we are going to interact with her and to learn some international IPR convention and treaties. Having said that, I would like to introduce my friend Navindu Bhattacharjee. So Navindu Bhattacharjee, he is very well expert in the IPR field, and he is specialized everything, means is related to the trademarks, patents, copyrights, trade name, infringement, passing off and industrial designs. And he is having extensive experience in representing national and international companies that wish to protect their marks globally with the support of a qualified legal team, because he is one of the founder of NB Associate, which is located at the Dhaka. And my friend Navindu Bhattacharjee, he is also a Supreme Court lawyer, and he is practicing IP law at the Bangladesh, and he is representing very well renowned international companies in Dhaka also. So I don't want to give the name of client, but if you know the name of client, then those are very huge. And he is very expert in his work. So with these few words, I would like to introduce our today's speaker, Navindu Bhattacharjee, and he is going to talk about TRIPS agreement. My friend Navindu Bhattacharjee, first of all, thank you for accepting my invitation and warm welcome to you. I know that there is a huge rain in Bangladesh is going on, and instead of this huge rain, still you join with us. We are happy to have you with us, and we welcome you. And please share your expertise and knowledge and informations with our participants also.
Uh, Good afternoon, everybody. Am I audible?
Yes,
Am I
sir, you
audible?
are. Yes, sir.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. Good evening, everybody. Actually, I am first of all, I am very sorry for that. I could not present here at the fixed time, as because there is heavy rainfall in Bangladesh, and at the same time, the electricity already goes, and my Wi-Fi connection already lost for the heavy rainfall, and for this reasons, I am some late actually. I am very sorry to hear that actually we are today lost one of our associate and attorney and prominent attorney in India, Ajit Agarwal. I am very sorry to hear his demise. He is no more today with us. I am may God bless his departed soul. Now, thank you, Bikram, first of all, is because uh, starting from the very beginning of the pandemic situation, I saw that you and my friend Mr. Paresh Kumar Dev jointly collaborate lots of webinar like today's, and you are present each and every program. I'm really grateful to you that you think some gather some knowledge for the students, for the associates who are doing their job in related the intellectual property field. Now, my special thanks to Paresh Kumar Dev, my friend in India. Actually, as far I know, he is a prominent patent attorney in India. Not only that, I heard that 7%, about 7% patent application has been granted in India, whatever written by him. Point one. Point two is that I heard that day before yesterday, I heard this IP moment already achieved a top 20 IP law firm, nominated as a top 20 IP law firm. And I am really grateful to him is because uh, last week's one of his speech, I heard that he is always a goal look forward the statement delivered uh, the Prime Minister of India, His Excellency Modi ji, that Atmanirbharshil Bharat, and he is going to look that how it possible for Atmanirbharshil Bharat, and he is going and conducting such kind of a webinar uh, last 3 months. Actually, uh, my today's topic is that trips. We are having a lots of conventions, lot of treaties regarding the intellectual property. But TRIPS, trade related aspect of intellectual property, it is a comprehensive agreement which should not read the another convention which is available for protection the intellectual industrial design or patent or geographical indication, whatever it is. But Paris Convention, we know, Paris Convention for industrial design, Bern Convention for copyright, which is limited. They are limited for their field. That very kind of field they are limited. This convention are limited. But TRIPS is a comprehensive agreement which are delivered and which protect the unfair and protect to the least development countries at the same time the development countries. Now come to the slide. Mr. Bikram, I am requesting you to put over the slide. You already said that I am Navindu Bhattacharjee, an advocate of Bangladesh Supreme Court. But TRIPS agreement. TRIPS agreement means the agreement on trade-related aspect of intellectual property rights. This is the most comprehensive multilateral agreement on intellectual property. The TRIPS agreement signed in Morocco on 15 April 1994 and come into force in the 1st January 1995. The TRIPS agreement introduced intellectual property law into the international trading system for the first time. Actually, TRIPS agreement is a trade-related aspect which is covered all the intellectual properties branches. You know that trademark, patent, copyright, all over the branches it is protected. For these reasons, we told it it's a comprehensive multilateral agreement. Now it's a language. It's already in three languages, in English, in French, and Spanish. Parties 164, all who member. This means the member who are the member of WTO, World Trade Organization, they are automatically treated as they are the member of the TRIPS agreement. As because if I elaborate is that those member who are already the member of WTO, they are automatically treated as the member of TRIPS agreement. TRIPS is an international agreement. Please, Vikram, please go to the next slide. Double click, please. Yes, yes, yes. This is an international agreement governed by the World Trade Organization. The TRIPS agreement established minimum standard for the use, scope, and ability of the different form of intellectual property covered by it. That means I would like to say that the TRIPS agreement established the minimum standard. Whatever, if we go to the scope, it is protected. If we have ability, it will be also protected, and the uses also. The introduction of TRIPS was a result of intense lobbying by the United States, supported by the development countries like European Union or Japan, etc. Actually, when the legendaries or law legendaries and business mechanism are told thinking about the TRIPS, firstly we found that those countries are the developed countries. They are lobbying. Yes, we have to do something for protection of our business, for enriching our business. And at the same time, European Union, Japan is also there for enriching and this such kind of agreement. The TRIPS agreement is the first international agreement that set forth minimum standard protection of for several area of intellectual property as applied for WTO member. I told you earlier that it's is a agreement. It's a minimum standard. Now for the next slide. Yes, all member of WTO are bound to sign all 14 multilateral agreements. TRIPS is one of the 14 agreements. Yes, this is the point is there that WTO has 14 agreements. TRIPS is one of them. But those who are the member of TRIPS agreement, WTO, they are bound to sign all the agreement, all 14 agreement, but and this is the it not possible they are sweet will that is okay, I will sign only one agreement and another nation will sign one another agreement. It is not possible. If though you are the member of WTO, you have to bound to sign all 14 agreements. And now the next slide is in January 1st 1995, India joined the WTO and the TRIPS agreement. WTO members were under the obligation to implement the TRIPS provision depending the level of development. We have to know the level of development. When TRIPS agreement is coming to force, the members are now members are signing for joining, but it's depend. There is an flexibilities in the next slide. I'll elaborate the what is the flexibilities, some of the scopes, some of the uses and the scope is the depend on the level of developing countries. As because some countries development countries, some are least development countries, some are developed countries, so it's depend the use of the TRIPS is the level of development. Now come to mine countries, Bangladesh. Yes, Bangladesh has been a WTO member since January 1995. Presently, as a least developed country, Bangladesh gets duty-free access to European Union, Australia, Canada, and some other countries. Yes, Bangladesh also gets duty-free access for a range of products, not for all products. This is the range of products in India and Sri Lanka market under the Asian. It is another actually not included TRIPS, but I would like to say that we are also access our goods for range of goods in the Indian market and Sri Lankan market under the South Asian Free Trade. That means SAFTA. Now for next slide. Basic elements of TRIPS. What is the basic element? Additionally, It is the first international intellectual property agreement that is subject to binding for. We have, I told earlier that we have lots of conventions, lots of treaties, Paris Convention, Madrid Protocol, Berne Convention, finished copyright, but not binding. The signatory bodies are not binding to follow such kind of conventions. Those are the conventions. TRIPS are the agreement. That means agreement. That means when we come into with the purview of agreement, we are bound to bound to maintain all kinds of elements. That means minimum standard of protection. The TRIPS enlightened as minimum standard of protection pre-existing of IP convention, national treatment, most favored nation treatment, minimum standard, then specific enforcement of procedure, civil and administrative procedure, provisional measure, border measure, criminal procedure, and remedies. Now come to the point that the conventions, the earlier lots of conventions, treaties, they are not as a standard fourth of agreement like TRIPS, as because in TRIPS there is a remedies, there is a enforcement procedure and the standard and how the protection our patent. That means least developed countries or development countries who has some patent, it's the protection their individual patent, legitimate patent. As I would like to say that maybe 1 year ago in our in Bangladesh Intellectual Property Registry Office, one of the hearing, I also present there. I had an experience that the opposite parties lawyer provide an documents in front of trademark registrar, honorable trademark registrar desk. This is the evidence, and it is clearly right in the Paris Convention that depend on such articles. Maybe article 8, yes, article 8. You have to grant my trademark registry. Then the honorable registered of the trademark registry, and I also opposite parties, I told and provide the honorable registry that it is not possible, is because the conventions which are the signatory bodies, Bangladesh is also the signatory body of the Paris Convention. Convention is not prevailing all over the territorial law, as because we have in Bangladesh, we are the criminal procedure law, we are the penal law, we have the civil law, whatever it is. But convention is not prevailing over the our territorial law. For this reason, it is the opposite party's trademark not granted. But that in case of any agreement like TRIPS, it will be the protection, and it will goes for the protection of one's trademark, which we not found in the convention. Now for the next slide. Please, Vikram, now for the next slide. And now for the next, Vikram, am I audible? Am I audible?
Yes, sir. Already done, sir.
Yes. Thanks, Vikram. Thanks. I really grateful to you because you are collaborating lots of program last week. Yes. Thank you. Okay. TRIPS agreement cover all aspects of intellectual property rights. No. Before this is not one before, please. Trademark TRIPS agreement. Yes. TRIPS agreement cover all aspects of intellectual property rights. Trademark trade secret, undisclosed and confidential information, service mark, trade secret, copyright, procedure of sound recording and broadcasting organization, copyright. Then geographical indication, then industrial design, integrated circuit, layout design, patent, and a layout design for integrated circuit. Now, cover for all aspects of intellectual property rights. I told you earlier that the copyright, the procedure of sound and recording for broadcasting organization. Yes, Bern Convention. We have the Bern Convention. It protects us. But the TRIPS Convention and the Uruguay round, the Uruguay round of TRIPS Convention protected the nations to procedure the sound recording and broadcasting organization. Then the industrial, in case of industrial design, in the Dua declaration also, that integrated circuit layout design are protected by the TRIPS Convention. For the next slide, what is the purpose of Uruguay Round Agreement? Please come to the next slide. Bikram, please. Next slide. That slide is operating from your end actually.
Yes, sir. What is the purpose of?
Maybe there is a network problem actually. I also face some problem because electricity was already gone due to heavy rainfall. Yes, thank you.
What is the purpose of?
What is the purpose of Uruguay Round Agreement? The main objective of the Uruguay Round were, what is the object of the Uruguay Round? To reduce the agriculture subsidies, to lift restriction on the foreign investment, to begin the process, of opening the trade in service like the banking and insurance, etc. Yes, Uruguay Round Agreement. Yes, I am talking about this slide. Uruguay Round Agreement. Yes, I am on the same slide. I am on the same slide.
Yes, sir.
Yes. The main object of the Uruguay Round were that to reduce the agriculture subsidies. There was an agriculture barrier. Before the Uruguay Round, there was an agriculture barrier before the signatory countries. But when the Uruguay Round, the ministerial bodies of the TRIPS are set in the Uruguay for restructuring of the TRIPS, then they are reduced the agriculture subsidies. Then the lift restriction of the foreign investment. There is a barrier for the foreign investment for each country to other countries, but by the Uruguay Round, it's also the lift for the restriction of the investment, and to begin the process of opening trade in service like banking or insurance. India joined the WTO and the, yes, okay, please. India joined the WTO and TRIPS agreement in 1995. WTO member had under the obligation to implement the TRIPS. I already elaborated earlier. Now go to the next step, please, Mr. Bikram.
Yes, sir. Doha Round.
Next slide is that Doha Round. Next slide is Doha Round.
Yes, sir. It is there.
Please, Mr. Bikram, please, next slide.
Yes, sir. Doha Round slide already on screen. Navindu Bhattacharjee has disconnected due to connectivity problem. We are trying to reconnect with him. Dr. Dave.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Sir,
So I think we have lost connection with Navendu ji. So meanwhile, you can play the first link.
yes, sir.
Uh,
I'm going to play a video.
yes. So meanwhile, we get back to him, Navendu ji. We are going to play, two two or three of a YouTube video. So where the same info conveyed and simplified by the because of heavy rain in the place at Bangladesh. Navin had
I,
problem
I
also,
think,
but
I
still
think,
he
I
managed
think.
to join with us. So I am really
ex-
thankful to him.
Excuse me, Dr. Dave.
I
Bhattacharjee
think
had
he is there.
joined.
So
He had joined. So I am getting back to his last slide.
yeah, so you can play one.
Bhattacharjee, now it is okay.
Yeah, Doha round was discussing. So and meanwhile, if you play, one YouTube video, it
Yes,
would
I
be
am
good
okay, but I
also.
am,
So
yes,
he
do
will be
around.
settled
Yes, do
down
around.
now.
I am,
He's here. Okay. Okay.
Yes,
I am very
Navindu.
thankful. Yes, I will be. Yes, I am very grateful to you as you
There
usable
will
this
be
time.
some
Yes,
delay,
I am
so
actually very sorry for that. I don't know what is
have
my
some
fate
patience.
actually today, as because electricity gone.
Dada.
Yeah, yes. You also you will, yes. You also see that there is no electricity. I am in the charger, in front of charger actually. No electricity in the, and no electricity, no Wi-Fi connection. And for this seasons actually, I am very sorry for that. Very sorry
No,
for that actually.
no issue, sir. No issue, sir.
To
We
the
understand your
audience who
situation.
are there, I am very sorry for that.
No issue, sir. We understand your
And now
situation.
for the
You can
dua
continue
round.
now, sir.
Yes, thank you. Dua round. Dua round is the latest round of the trade negotiations around the WTO membership. Its aim is to achieve major reform to the international trading system through the introduction of the lower trade barriers and revise the trade rules. Very important. By the Dua round, actually, uh, like our countries, like India, who are till the developing countries, we are get some benefits from trips. I will have it in the last couples of slides. Actually, by this Dua round, there is it's a totally bailed out the barriers from the by between the development countries and developing countries, and it is the lower trade barriers protected, totally protected. Now, Dua declaration is the Dua Qatar in November 14, 2001. Some of the clarification was set down for the better understanding between the developed country and developing countries. I told it earlier that, and accordingly initiated a round talk that the result of Dua declaration. Dua declaration is very important for us. And what is amend in the Dua declaration? Dua declaration is the measure two elements. As one of this public health was adopted by the WTO Ministerial Conference in Dua, and in reaffirms the flexibilities of three signatory states in the circumventing the patent right for the better access to essential. Yes, better access to essential. Actually, the public health, the necessary dignity, the necessary issues which are need for developing countries uh, is the adopted by the ministerial body of WTO in Doha, and public for the concern of public and the reform of public health, we, the developing countries, get some more benefit by the TRIPS. Now for the next slide. Mr. Vikram, please. Next slide. Why the TRIPS agreement come into force for the countries? Next slide, please. Why the
Yes,
TRIPS agreement
sir. All,
comes into force for the countries? The TRIPS agreement
so already,
is sometimes referred as a Bern and Paris Plus Convention. Mr. Bikram, please, for the
sir,
next slide, actually, I am requesting you
already,
to,
sir,
you are
already,
operating so the slides, so I am requesting you to please put the,
sir, already why TRIPS agreement comes into the force for countries. This slide is showing. I think Dr. Bhattacharjee, Mr. Bhattacharjee has internet connectivity issues.
We can share the YouTube link.
ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस प्रोग्राम में आपका स्वागत है। आज हम बात करेंगे विश्व बौद्धिक संपदा संगठन यानी वीपो की। वीपो क्या है? संयुक्त राष्ट्र की सबसे पुरानी विशिष्ट एजेंसियों में से एक है वीपो। इसकी स्थापना 1967 में हुई थी और इसका कार्य रचनात्मक गतिविधियों को प्रोत्साहित करना और दुनिया भर में बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण को बढ़ावा देना है। यहाँ बात करें बौद्धिक संपदा की, तो बौद्धिक संपदा संपत्ति की एक ऐसी कैटेगरी है जिसमें मानव बुद्धि से निर्मित ऐसी रचनाएं शामिल हैं जिन्हें छूकर महसूस नहीं किया जा सकता। इनमें मुख्य रूप से कॉपीराइट, पेटेंट और ट्रेडमार्क शामिल हैं। साथ ही ट्रेड सीक्रेट्स, प्रचार अधिकार, नैतिक अधिकार और अनुचित प्रतिस्पर्धा के खिलाफ अधिकार भी इसमें शामिल हैं। वर्तमान में वीपो 26 अंतर्राष्ट्रीय संधियों का प्रबंधन करता है। इसका मुख्यालय स्विट्जरलैंड के जेनेवा में है और हर साल 26 अप्रैल को विश्व बौद्धिक संपदा दिवस मनाया जाता है। एक नज़र डालें वीपो की सदस्यता पर। वर्तमान में वीपो के कुल 191 सदस्य हैं। यूएन के सभी मेंबर वीपो के सदस्य बन सकते हैं, लेकिन वीपो जैसी विशिष्ट एजेंसियों का सदस्य बनने के लिए वे बाध्य नहीं हैं। यूएन के 188 सदस्य देशों के साथ कुक द्वीप समूह, होली सी और न्यूवे वीपो के सदस्य हैं। इनके अलावा फिलिस्तीन को स्थायी पर्यवेक्षक का दर्जा प्राप्त है वीपो में, और साथ ही लगभग 250 एनजीओ और अंतर सरकारी संगठनों को वीपो की बैठकों में आधिकारिक पर्यवेक्षक का दर्जा मिला हुआ है। यहाँ ये भी नोट करने वाली बात है कि भारत 1975 में वीपो का सदस्य बना था। वीपो के इतिहास पर एक नज़र डालें तो सन 1883 में औद्योगिक संपदा के संरक्षण के लिए पेरिस कन्वेंशन हुआ। इसे बौद्धिक कार्य संरक्षण के लिए उठाए गए पहले कदम के तौर पर भी याद किया जाता है। इसमें आविष्कार या पेटेंट, ट्रेडमार्क, इंडस्ट्रियल डिज़ाइन से जुड़े बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण को लेकर प्रयास किए गए। इसके बाद आया सन 1886 का साहित्यिक और कलात्मक कार्यों के संरक्षण के लिए बर्न कन्वेंशन। इसमें शामिल हैं उपन्यास, लघु कथाओं, नाटक, गाने, ओपेरा, संगीत, ड्राइंग, पेंटिंग, मूर्तिकला और वास्तुशिल्प कृतियों के बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण को लेकर किए गए प्रयास। इसके बाद आया 1891 का मैड्रिड समझौता, जिसे प्रथम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बौद्धिक संपदा फाइलिंग सेवा की शुरुआत के लिए भी याद किया जाता है। इसके बाद 1893 में BIRPI की स्थापना हुई। बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण हेतु पेरिस और बर्न कन्वेंशन का प्रशासन करने के लिए स्थापित 2 सचिवालयों को मिलाकर BIRPI की स्थापना हुई। 1967 में साइन किए गए वीपो कन्वेंशन के फोर्स में आने के साथ ही 1970 में BIRPI बन गया वीपो। 1974 में यही वीपो यूएन की एक एजेंसी बन गया। एक नज़र डालें वीपो के कार्यकलापों पर। बदलती दुनिया के लिए संतुलित अंतर्राष्ट्रीय बौद्धिक संपदा नियमों को बनाने के लिए यह एक पॉलिसी फोरम का कार्य करता है। इसके अलावा सीमाओं के पार बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण और विवादों को हल करने के लिए वैश्विक सेवाएं प्रदान करता है। बौद्धिक संपदा सिस्टम्स को जोड़ने और ज्ञान साझा करने के लिए तकनीकी आधारभूत संरचना प्रदान करता है और सभी देशों को आर्थिक, सामाजिक और सांस्कृतिक विकास के लिए बौद्धिक संपदा का उपयोग करने में सक्षम बनाने के लिए सहयोग और क्षमता निर्माण कार्यक्रम तैयार करता है। इसके अलावा वीपो के एजेंडा पर बौद्धिक संपदा संरक्षण कानूनों एवं संधियों के अपवादों एवं सीमाओं के निर्धारण का भार भी है। इन सीमाओं और अपवाद के अंतर्गत अधिकार धारकों और संरक्षित कार्यों का उपयोग करने वालों के हितों के बीच उचित संतुलन बनाए रखने के लिए आर्थिक अधिकारों पर कॉपीराइट कानून कुछ प्रतिबंध लगाते हैं। ये ऐसे मामले होते हैं जिनमें संरक्षित कार्यों का उपयोग अधिकार धारकों की अनुमति के बिना और मुआवजे का भुगतान करके या ना करके किया जा सकता है। सीमाएं और अपवाद वीपो के एजेंडा का एक मुख्य मुद्दा बन चुके हैं और इनके संबंध में बहस मुख्य रूप से 3 समूहों के लाभार्थियों या गतिविधियों पर केंद्रित रहती है। इसमें शैक्षणिक गतिविधियों, पुस्तकालयों और अभिलेखागारों तथा विकलांग व्यक्तियों, विशेषकर दृष्टिबाधितों को शामिल किया गया है। अब बात करते हैं वीपो की महत्वपूर्ण संधियों की। पहली महत्वपूर्ण संधि है वीपो परफॉर्मेंस एंड फोनोग्राम संधि। इसमें विशेषकर डिजिटल माहौल में 2 प्रकार के लाभार्थियों के अधिकारों का ख्याल रखा गया। पहले हैं कलाकार, जिसमें अभिनेता, अभिनेत्रियां और संगीतकार शामिल हैं। दूसरे हैं फोनोग्राम निर्माता, जिसमें ऐसे व्यक्ति या कानूनी संस्थाएं जो ध्वनियों के निर्माण यानी साउंड फिक्सेशन के लिए पहल करती हैं और इनकी जिम्मेदारी लेती हैं। भारत इस संधि को स्वीकार कर चुका है। दूसरी महत्वपूर्ण संधि है बुडापेस्ट संधि। पेटेंट प्रक्रियाओं के प्रयोजन के लिए सूक्ष्म जीवों यानी माइक्रो ऑर्गेनिज्म के डिपॉजिट की अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मान्यता से जुड़ी है। भारत इस संधि को भी स्वीकार कर चुका है। तीसरी महत्वपूर्ण संधि है अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ट्रेडमार्क के लिए मैड्रिड प्रोटोकॉल। एक आवेदन के माध्यम से एक से अधिक देशों को कवर करने वाले अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ट्रेडमार्क पंजीकरण प्रदान करने में ये संधि मददगार है। भारत ने यह प्रोटोकॉल भी स्वीकार किया हुआ है। चौथी महत्वपूर्ण संधि है दृष्टिबाधितों और छपे हुए को पढ़ने में कठिनाई महसूस करने वाले व्यक्तियों तक प्रकाशित कार्यों को पहुंचाने के लिए मराकेश संधि। दृष्टिबाधितों के लिए पुस्तकों के उपलब्ध संस्करणों तथा अन्य कॉपीराइट कार्यों की सुविधा प्रदान करने के मामले में यह संधि कॉपीराइट में छूट देती है। ध्यान रहे कि भारत पहला देश था जिसने इस संधि का अनुमोदन किया। अंतिम महत्वपूर्ण संधि जो वीपो से जुड़ी है वह है वीपो कॉपीराइट संधि। यह बर्न कन्वेंशन के तहत एक विशेष समझौता है जो डिजिटल माहौल में लेखकों के कार्यों और उनके अधिकारों के संरक्षण का कार्य करता है। भारत इस संधि को भी स्वीकार कर चुका है। वीपो से जुड़ा एक महत्वपूर्ण प्रकाशन भी है जिसको वैश्विक नवाचार सूचकांक के तौर पर जाना जाता है। इसमें देशों को नवाचार में उनकी क्षमता और सफलता के आधार पर वार्षिक रैंकिंग दी जाती है। इसका प्रकाशन कॉर्नेल यूनिवर्सिटी और इनसीड के सहयोग से किया जाता है।
Navindu, now your connection is fine. We can continue with last slide.
So where
Yes, I am okay.
Yes, sir. We continue with your last slide. You are asking about the why TRIPS agreement comes into the force for the countries. You can continue from this.
Yes. Why the TRIPS agreement come into force for the countries? The agreement is sometimes referred to as a Bern and Paris Plus Convention. We have so many conventions of IP rights: Bern Convention, Paris Convention, Rome Convention, but TRIPS agreement is referred as why Bern and Paris Plus Convention is because whatever the lacuna of this Bern Convention, whatever the shortage of Paris Convention, the TRIPS agreement are fulfilled by all the aspects, and for this reason sometimes it referred that Paris Plus Convention, whatever it is. TRIPS agreements bound to follow by the signatory countries, but the convention not binding upon the member state. This is I told my previous slide that agreement and the signatory bodies of the agreement are not bound to follow convention are not bound to follow the all over the countries, but in case of agreements the signatory bodies are bound to follow the rules and regulations of the agreements. TRIPS agreements and a mandatory enforcement provision. All member states have to follow the provisions. And TRIPS agreement is a special. It is because it is a mandatory enforcement provision of there. In the other treaties, other conventions, we did not found it. That's the mandatory enforcement are not in the other treaties, other conventions. And for these reasons, the Paris Convention, the TRIPS agreement is referred as a exclusive and minimum standard agreements. Now for the next slide, 5 main principles. For the next slide, 5 main principles of
Yes, sir. 5 main principal slide
broadly
is on.
this aim is achieved by the bringing IPRs together under a common international set of rules and established minimum standard of IPR protection, which will allow for the trans-border technology flow. Please, Vikram, please for the next slide.
Sir, already 5 main
It
principal
is.
slide is there. You can continue with this slide.
It is
Might be
there.
you
It
are
is
having.
there
Please for the
in
next
the
slide.
board.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You are audible.
So, Vikram, we can wind up, today's session because of these technical difficulties, and
Sir, we can play one video, 3 minute video, and after that we
yeah.
can bind up
So
it.
we can play one video, and this presentation we are
It
going
is
to
a
share
priority to
with you.
ensure that trade can support development and better livelihoods around the world. This means making sure that trade policies can complement other vital public policy goals, such as environmental policies or public health. Recently, we have marked a very important milestone in those efforts. WTO members have brought into force an amendment to the global agreement which deals with intellectual property rights and trade, known as the TRIPS agreement. This is the first ever amendment to a multilateral trade agreement in the WTO, and it responds to a public health concern among developing countries. It's all about access to medicines. Under the old system, the rules restricted the export of generic medicines. So if you couldn't produce the medicines domestically, the rules made it difficult to import them. Now, this meant that the poorest could face the biggest hurdles in accessing essential drugs. But now, this matter has been resolved once and for all. This amendment gives legal certainty that generic medicines can be imported by countries with no pharmaceutical production capacity or those with limited capacity. And it ensures that those medicines can be imported in satisfactory quantities. And by doing so, it helps some of the most vulnerable people who are suffering from diseases such as HIV/AIDS, tuberculosis, or malaria, as well as other epidemics. Clearly, this is a very important enterprise. This right had previously been granted to members, but only as a waiver. It was the drive and the leadership of WTO's African members that gave this mechanism a more solid legal grounding. They sought the consensus needed to insert this right permanently into WTO rules, making it a norm, not an exception. And they were supported by widespread calls for action on this point by various UN bodies. 2/3 of the WTO membership, over 100 countries, have now formally accepted the amendment, and so it has come into force. The next step is for members to make effective use of the amendment as a practical procurement tool, and this will help to ensure that the supply of medicines match with patient needs. It will also contribute to the achievement of the UN Sustainable Development Goals. So I would like to thank all of those involved in making this a reality. It shows that the WTO can negotiate smart solutions for real problems affecting people's lives. We should keep this in mind as we seek to ensure that the benefits of trade are available for everybody, complementing other important priorities, now and in the future.
Paresh sir, only four slide is pending, so we can continue it.
Okay. So we can try to sum up in 5-10 minutes. So
Sure, sir. Because only for, five slides are pending. Almost Bhattacharjee has covered.
okay.
Bhattacharjee, you can continue with the five main
Can you hear?
principles.
Uh, Actually, I have no problem.
Yes, sir, you can continue.
Okay. I am actually very sorry for that. I am actually very sorry for that.
No.
Yeah,
There are,
Also,
yeah. Right.
we understand your situation.
Yes.
So
Okay.
no issues.
The
You can continue.
principles.
this is technical. This one.
The five main principle of. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Actually, I am today. I am very sorry for that. All the lacuna, all the barriers, all the shortages are from my end. I respect the audience who already lost their interest, I think, and I am very sorry for that virtual audience. The five main principles, broadly the aim of the achieve the bringing the trips together under the common international set rules and establish the minimum standard of IPR protections, which will allow for the trans-border technology flow. What is the main principle? The principle is non-discrimination. It has two major components: the most favored nation rules and the national treatment policy. Non-discrimination, that means by the trips, it is always protected, it is always ensured by this member state that there will be no discrimination for the trans-border technology. Point two, reciprocity. It means the both two countries, the signatory, all of the signatory countries, among the signatory countries, only two countries, if they're going for their bilateral treaties, that yes, you will do, I will ensure I will use your patent, the patent for uses my countries. Okay, it's impossible. And for this reasons, there is a principle for the reciprocity. Binding and enforceable commitment. That means if any signatory bodies are goes for the TRIPS agreements, rules and regulations, that very kind of states are binding to enforcement the commitment what this state already taken steps. That was safety value. Safety value just mean the business, in case of any business reciprocity, in their case, then there is any values of safety that it can ensure by the bilateral countries. Now for the and now we have only three slides are there. The objects of the trip. The main objects are clearly defined in the Article 7 on the text. The protection and enforcement of the intellectual property rights should contribute to the promotion of the technological innovation, to transfer and dissemination the technology, to promote the transfer technology to the least development countries in order to enable them to create a known and viable technology based to the mutual advantage of procedure and uses of the technology knowledge and manner to conducive the social and economic welfare and to the balance of right and obligations. I am go speedy go through my slides. Now, what is the current issues of the TRIP agreement? Maybe I now the last slide. Now the last slide, please, last slide on disadvantage. Yes, I would like to disadvantage. It's a very important. It's a, in my starting of this speech, I told that this agreement is a very important and is a comprehensive agreement, but it has some demerits. This slide is very important. What is the disadvantage of this slide? Both all of we always told that yes, TRIPS is a very comprehensive treaty agreement. It's sometimes referred as a Paris Plus Convention, but what like that? Disadvantage is that TRIPS is undoubtedly the most controversial with respect to its development related impact. Development related impact is because if some least developed countries has no any patent, but development countries by the flexibilities of the TRIPS uses the patent in least developed countries. So what is the reasons? What is the result? Result is that the developed countries undoubtedly lose his some benefit, but the flexibilities of TRIPS access the least developed countries to allow the developing countries developed countries patent or IP rights. Then the poor intellectual property protection. I told that there is no, in case apart their legitimate trade, apart our territorial trade, apart our domestic patent, but in case of any international patent, it's hamper, it's the poor intellectual property protection is because there is flexibilities in the TRIPS, and the by the depend of flexibilities, least developed countries always access go through for the developed countries patent right. Now it's TRIPS has not provided a solution as a trade balance have continued to erode. No offsetting protection of the traditional knowledge. Yes, it's important actually. There is a traditional knowledge. I have our territory, my territories have some territorial depend of some territorial knowledge. We have what is the patent situation? TRIPS, I think Bikram, please go to the next last slide. Not TRIPS agreement. Yes, TRIPS agreement and COVID-19. It's actually already I lose one.
Yes, sir. TRIP agreements and COVID-19 slide is there. I think Dr. Navindu Bhattacharjee is again having connectivity problems. We are trying to reconnect
So,
with him.
This slide, if I can read out, am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Yeah. So,
I
as
think
we
Sir
know,
Bhattacharjee is there and he might be audible.
okay.
Navindu ji.
Yes, please.
Sir, you can continue with last slide.
Yes, last slide. Yes, okay. This is the last slide. And that TRIPS agreement and COVID-19. This is a very interesting issues actually. TRIPS agreement is and flexibilities. And by the depend on flexibilities, we can access the COVID-19 necessities. What is that? Like Indian generic companies have to obtain a license from the patent holder to produce and supply the, we know that remdesivir for use of COVID-19 treatment. We all know that the name of this medicine. In absence of patent protection, a larger number of Indian companies could the drug to ensure the availability of COVID-19 emergency. medicine at the affordable price for access to all. And global equitable access of health technology, which is already directed by the Dua round, the fulfill of the flexibilities of the TRIPS agreement, emergency measure and indemnity against the infringement. Now the elaboration. Actually, what is that? In the COVID-19 situation, we know that lots of industrial countries, the developed countries, all the countries are now going to uh, made a vaccine for their countries for the protection against the COVID-19 coronavirus. They are already got through the first already completed the first step. Second, some countries already completed second step, third step for the vaccination, and then now some countries are now in the final stage. Now the point is that in the uses of flexibilities, the flexibilities TRIPS convention are granted that the least development countries can access to uses the developed countries patent. And I also know that India and Bangladesh also the flexibilities for the medicine purpose, and Bangladesh also the 10 years already, 10 years we have completed our for free access of medicine. Now we are go to for 26 to 2026 for that next 10 years of the flexibilities of the protect without restriction of uses the pharmaceutical products. Now in the COVID-19 situation, if we would like to access and we would like to access the medicine or medicine purpose, then it is uses by the flexibilities, and we can suspend our national patent right. The national patent right we have, all country had. We can suspend the national patent right, and we can access, go through the TRIPS convention depend on flexibilities. And for these reasons, like India, like Bangladesh, we can access whatever the vaccine is market, open market, we can access, we can go through. Please, okay, now we can access the patentable vaccine for our, as the we are the members and there is a flexibility. Now the and actually you the audience and Mr. Bikram and Mr. Paresh Dev, I am requesting that already you have seen that already electricity already come, and I am looking now fresh as because electricity already come, and I am very sorry the audience as because there is no Wi-Fi, there is no electricity, and now my end my slide, now electricity come. I am really thankful to online audience.
So Dada, so Dada, so Dada, let me sum up. This your this light came. So
Yeah,
this reminds me of story of Thakur. Rabindranath Thakur. His
yeah,
poem was there, and
yeah,
that poem is that related to that at the time of sunset.
yeah,
Sunset, sun was setting down. So sun
yeah,
asked to the whole world that okay, now I am living and I am setting down, so who is there to take my responsibility? So when sun asked this question, so all around the world, they started thinking, who will take responsibility of sun? Because sun is shining all the day, then who is there, to take this responsibility? So no one has any word to speak out. So they all silent, all around the world they silent. But what happened that suddenly, one small diya, one small lamp, that we are lighting with one bati, cotton and oil, that one diya, he immediately come up and he said that, don't worry, master, I will take care. Because he said that if you setting down, then I will take care of your work, because whatever way is possible, by burning myself, I will burn try to light up the world. So it's like that, that even small diya can do anything, then everyone can do anything. And I am really thankful to you because of these many hurdles also, you join with us and you deliver a very nice talk. And I really enjoy, listening to you, because the way you were delivering, instead of these many problems, you were delivering very calmly and explaining very detailed things to all, instead of 4 or 5 times because of technical problem you went out and everything. But when you come up, you explain very well, and you explain very detailed briefly also. So I am very much thankful to you. And now you said that light is there, so there is knowledge, light is there. And this knowledge, or we have to hand over one person to another person. This is our aim of this, organizing these IP webinars. And this is also aim of Open and Pharmacy Federation, to share, knowledge and information with students, faculties, researchers, and experts. So if there is any question answer session is there, Vikram, do we have time for question answer, or we can wind up so?
Yes, sir. I have time. No issue. Dear audience, if you have any kind of questions, you can talk to the live chat section. So we can rise to our speaker, Mr. Navindu Bhattacharjee. आई थिंक सर फीडबैक लिंक देने के बाद में किसी को फुर्सत नहीं क्वेश्चन आंसर के लिए.
Actually, I think for the purpose of my end, I am all audience are lost their interest. All audience are lost their interest.
No.
I am thankful, Mr. Paresh and Dr. Vikram, that you are there only to continue this program. And actually, I am sorry. And actually, I am sorry.
I can see many audiences are there who are,
Yes,
sincere.
audience
Around,
is still
10-15
audience are
members
there.
are there who are very sincere. So.
Because sir, we are only looking for those audience who want to gain really knowledge, and these audience are they, if we having any technical issue, they remain constant on our channel. That is the feasibility of the audience who are really want to gain knowledge, because they understand the situation, what situation you are facing right now.
Because we are looking for diyas, who is going to take care of our torch bearer,
So thank you, Navindu Bhattacharjee, joining with us and sharing your wonderful knowledge on TRIPS agreement, and you very well explain about the TRIPS agreement. I personally learned lots of things from your side, and you explained very well. Thank you so much, sir. Now, Paresh sir, we are going to wind up, or you want to add anything else?
We can
disconnect. And I have one request. To Mr. Vikram and my friend Dr. Paresh Kumar, that both of you are continuing this program since the beginning of the COVID-19. As I sometimes present and sometimes I question to the speaker some questions, and I am thankful both of you, and I am requesting you that we the Bangladesh and we the Indian, already we Bangladesh and India has a good relations. So I think we can jointly uprising us by the speech of His Excellency Modi's that Atmanirbharshil Bharat. We are doing the same. Both of you are doing the same for looking. And I am thankful to Mr. Paresh and to Vikram Chaudhary.
Thank you so much, sir. It is our pleasure to give the knowledge in this critical pandemic situation, to speak the more about the profession, what we are having knowledge. So how we can speak to the audience, that is our major objective, and how we can spread the knowledge by the webinar series or by organizing different programs. So that is our pleasure.
We can continue offline after live.
One question from Koshi Bolta. She want to know about the evaluate the disadvantage of the TRIPS agreement.
Yes, the disadvantage. What is the disadvantage? Though we are told that it is a extensive and multilateral agreements, but it's have some disadvantage. He told me to elaborate. Undoubtedly, the most controversial respect to the development countries later is because, for example, Japan has an patent, but we Bangladesh, least developed country, we have no such kind of patents. But now Bangladesh think to access, Bangladesh uses such kind of trade by depend of patent. So what should we do? We can access the Japanese patent as because the flexibilities are there in the TRIPS convention. Then what is the disadvantage? Disadvantage is that Japan cannot get any revenue. As flexibilities are there, Bangladesh or India can access, go to the patent of Japan. This is the actually, and then hamper the development products. Another is that maybe developing countries, European Union, maybe USA would like to develop their products, develop one program on one product, but they are the signatory body. We are also the signatory body. So what should do? I told that brother nation countries, that means brother than USA, I can go access, I can use it, but he cannot barrier as TRIPS agreement. Both of we are the signatory body of the TRIPS agreement. For this reason, they did not get any revenue. They did not. They hampered their development project. This is the elaborate of this disadvantage.
Okay, thank you, sir, for sharing your knowledge. Any audience having any kind of questions, they can drop in comment box so we can rise to our speaker. Otherwise, we shall today going to wind up this session.
So thank you, Navindu ji, for giving excellent talk, and thank you, Vikram and Operant Pharmacy Federation, and thank you all participants for joining with us. So I would like to remind you that tomorrow we are going to have at 2 p.m. India time, because our speaker is from New Zealand. So because of time difference, he has to come up, at 2 p.m. our time, because at that time also it will be 8:30 night time for him. But still he is agreed to join with us and to deliver an expert talk. So thank you, Navendu, and thank you, Vikram, and thank you all participants.
Thank you all.
Thank you so much.